It wasn't just the words that broke me. It was how easily they came. "Why don't you just disappear?" My stepdaughter hurled at me like a knife, her voice shaking with anger I didn't understand. And then Rebecca, my wife, the woman I thought had my back, didn't defend me. She didn't even hesitate. "Maybe we really would be better off without you," she said, like it was a fact. I stood there for a second, stunned, waiting for someone to take it back. No one did. So I turned without a word, walked upstairs, and began to pack. Not out of rage, not out of spite, just because something inside me quietly shattered, and I knew there was no going back from that. This morning, I woke up to over 10 missed calls lighting up my phone. I couldn't shake the uneasy feeling as I stepped into the living room. It was a quiet Sunday, but something was definitely off. The silence wasn't the problem. It was something else. I scanned the room, trying to figure out what felt wrong. Then it hit me. Our family photos had changed. I walked over to the big one above the fireplace, the one from our Bryce Canyon trip last summer. The picture was still there, but I wasn't in it. Actually, I wasn't in any of them. Every photo from the past few years had been carefully edited, with my face removed. It left these weird, empty spaces in what used to be family moments. I just stood there, coffee in hand, slowly going cold, when I heard a door quietly close upstairs. Lena's. She hesitated at the top of the stairs when she realized I was up. Then she came down slowly, clutching her phone, avoiding eye contact as she headed straight for the kitchen. "Morning," I said, keeping my voice even. She didn't reply. The silence between us felt heavy, almost intentional. I'd been in Lena's life for almost 4 years now. Almost 4 years of trying to build something real, helping with homework, sharing movie nights, doing my best to show up without overstepping. Lately, though, she'd started to pull away. I figured it was just the usual teenage stuff, but something about it felt off. It started the other week when I offered to help with a chemistry project she was struggling with. I thought I was being supportive, but maybe I was wrong. Her reaction cut deep. She said, "Stop pretending you care about my grades. You're not my real dad." I'd heard things like that before, but her voice this time, it had a sharper edge. It felt intentional. Rebecca, my wife, was standing nearby in the kitchen and definitely heard it, but she didn't say a word. That silence felt like she was picking a side, and it wasn't mine. Things just kept building after that. Little stuff. Dishes left in the sink and pointed stairs. Doors closed a bit harder than they needed to be. Conversations dying the second I walked into a room. Even Rebecca started pulling away, brushing it off every time I tried to bring it up. "She's just being a teenager, Jake. Don't take it personally," she told me. But last night, everything blew up. Lena was texting at dinner, even though we had a no-phones rule at the table. I gently reminded her, and she snapped, threw her phone down and shouted, "Why are you always on my case? Just leave me alone." "Lena," I started to say, trying to stay calm. "What? Trying to be my dad now?" She cut in. "I already have one." She pushed her chair back hard, the screech echoing through the room. Then she said it. "Why don't you just disappear?" And then added, "Nobody asked you to try so hard. It's pathetic." I looked to Rebecca, hoping for something, support, maybe just a word to calm things down. But she just set her fork down and quietly said, "Maybe we'd all be better off if you did." Her words hung in the air like smoke. All those memories hit me at once. Lena laughing at one of my cheesy dad jokes, crying on the phone after her first breakup, that proud look Rebecca gave me when Lena asked me, not her, to help pick out her prom dress. I slowly stood up, my plate still half full. "Okay," I said. "Okay, what?" Lena shot back, but I saw something flicker in her eyes. Maybe doubt. "If that's really how you both feel, then okay." I went upstairs, grabbed my old duffel from the closet. I could hear them whispering downstairs, but no one followed me. As I packed enough for a few days, I noticed something. My hands weren't shaking. I actually felt strangely calm. When I came back down, Lena was gone. Probably in her room. Rebecca stood in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed. "So you're just walking out? That's your answer?" "You said you'd be better off," I told her, grabbing my keys and wallet. "I'm just honoring that." "That's not." "I didn't mean." Rebecca started, then trailed off. Maybe it was pride, or maybe just plain stubbornness that kept her from finishing the thought. I grabbed my bag. "I'm heading to Matt's," I told her. "I'll figure out something more permanent later." I paused for a moment at the door. When Lena said all that, yeah, it hurt. "But you agreeing with her?" I shook my head. "That broke something in me, Becca." I left the house without another word, drove in silence the whole way. Matt didn't ask a single question, just opened up the guest room like it was already waiting for me. That's the kind of friend he is. I shut off my phone and took a sleeping pill from the little stash I keep in my travel bag. The next morning, sunlight was pushing through the unfamiliar curtains when I finally woke up. I turned my phone back on, and it blew up instantly. 14 missed calls, 7 from Rebecca, 4 from Lena, and 3 from my sister, Holly. There were 25 texts waiting for voicemails. I still haven't listened to any of them. Right now, I'm sitting here in Matt's guest room, watching cars crawl through the morning traffic outside his window, thinking about those missing spots in our family pictures. Maybe they were always missing, and I just refused to notice. My phone buzzes again. Lena. After everything that went down, I still caught myself staring at her name, wondering what she needed so badly now. But I'm not ready, not yet. Sometimes walking away isn't the hard part. It's figuring out if you should ever go back. This morning started the way the others have. Me pretending to work while just staring at my phone, debating whether I should finally say something. Then Matt casually dropped a bomb over breakfast. "Derek is back," he said, sliding his phone across the table. There it was, a Facebook photo of Lena's biological father, tagged at a local restaurant just 2 weeks ago. Same Derek who hasn't sent a single child support payment in years. The same guy who bailed on Lena's last 4 birthdays. Suddenly, all the strange timing made sense. I went back through my texts. Rebecca's messages had shifted. They started off angry, real mature Jake, running away instead of facing this. Then turned more worried. "Please, just let us know you're okay." Her most recent one said, "There's something you need to know. It's about Lena. Please call." Around lunchtime, Holly showed up, armed with coffee and that look she gives when she's about to get involved whether you like it or not. "You look like hell," she said, dropping onto Matt's couch. "Thanks," I muttered. "Always a pleasure, sis." She didn't laugh. "I saw Lena at the mall yesterday. That got my full attention." "How is she?" "She was meeting Derek for coffee. Didn't notice me there," Holly said, watching me closely. She looked hopeful. You know that look she gets? Like she's trying hard not to believe something good might actually stick? I knew exactly what she meant. It was the same look Lena had when she got into that summer program last year, like she was too scared to get her hopes up. "Did you know he's been messaging her for months?" Holly continued, telling her he's changed, that he's going to do things right this time. My stomach turned at that. I opened Lena's Instagram, something I almost never do, and saw her latest post, a photo of her and Derek, with the caption, "Real family time." The comments were full of heart emojis from her friends. None of them knew the history behind that photo. Matt, who'd been quietly listening this whole time, finally spoke up. "You remember what happened the last time he came back? When she was 13. "Yeah, I remembered. Derek came in like a hero with all these grand promises. He stayed 2 weeks, then vanished again. Lena didn't come out of her room for days. Rebecca and I had spent months helping Lena rebuild her trust, reminding her she was enough, that she deserved better than what she'd been handed. Almost like it was timed, my phone buzzed with a message from Rebecca. He's asking her to move in with him. She's actually thinking about it. "Please, Jake. I know you're mad at me, but she needs you." I started typing out replies more than once and erased them all. What was I supposed to say? "Oh, so now that you told me to vanish, I'm supposed to magically show up again because you need me?" The whole thing felt like some twisted joke. Then came another ping. Lena had posted a news story. It was a photo of college brochures scattered across her bed, with a caption that read, "Big change is coming. Sometimes you have to choose your real path." Those were Derek's exact words from 3 years ago, right before he left for the other side of the country and stopped picking up Lena's calls. Holly must have caught the look on my face. "What's going through your head?" she asked. "I'm thinking about the day I married Rebecca," I said slowly. "And that speech Lena gave. How sometimes family finds you when you're not even looking." And now here she was, posting about her real family and her real path, while Derek played the role of perfect dad. She'd bought into it. Hook, line, and sinker. Just then, my phone started ringing. Unknown number. "Jake, this is Miss Keller from Silver Creek High," the voice said. "I'm Lena's guidance counselor. I know this is a bit unusual, but I need to speak with you about some concerning changes in her academic plans and behavior. Could you come in tomorrow morning?" I agreed, already feeling the rush of questions crowding my mind. Lena had always been laser-focused on her grades, determined to get into a good college. What changed? When I hung up, Holly and Matt were both watching me. Well, Holly asked. I think it's time I stopped being quiet, I said, grabbing my phone and opening the voicemail from Lena I'd been avoiding. Her voice, when it came through, was smaller than I expected, none of the usual fire behind it. I know you probably hate me now, and I get it, she said. I need to tell you something. About why I said those things. About Derek. Please call me back. There was something in her voice that took me back to when she was 13, standing at the mailbox every afternoon, waiting for letters that never came. I've got a meeting with Miss Keller tomorrow morning. After that, I think it's time for some honest conversations. Funny thing about disappearing, it can show you things you couldn't see when you were standing too close. The school's number was still on my screen when another message came in. This one from Derek, dropped into our old family group chat I'm still somehow part of. Great news. Big announcement at dinner tomorrow night. I've got a pretty good idea what that announcement is going to be. And this time, I'm not going to sit back and let history repeat itself. I've spent the last hour trying to figure out how to explain what just happened. The meeting with Miss Keller revealed more than I expected, and everything that followed only added to it. So here goes. I got to Silver Creek High early, watched students rushing to their classes, trying to act normal. A few of Lena's friends saw me and whispered to each other as they passed. Word was clearly getting around. Miss Keller didn't waste time once I sat down. Yesterday, Lena submitted paperwork to drop all her advanced placement courses, she said, sliding a form across her desk. She's also stepping down from French Club and Student Council. I asked why. She told me she's transferring schools next semester. My stomach dropped. These were the exact programs she'd worked so hard to get into. Her whole college plan had been built around them. There's more, Miss Keller added. Last week, she asked me to send her transcripts to 3 schools, all located in Florida. She paused to gauge my reaction. That's when it started to click. Derek had just bought property out there. I pulled out my phone and showed her the group chat message. Let me guess, he's opening some kind of business? She nodded. Lena had mentioned something about a startup, said her dad needed family investors to help get it off the ground. And just like that familiar sick feeling hit me again, the same one I felt 3 years ago when Derek sweet-talked Rebecca into loaning him money for a can't-fail business idea. We never saw a dime of it. I left the school and drove straight home. Rebecca's car was already in the driveway, and through the window, I caught a glimpse of her pacing in the kitchen, phone pressed to her ear. She saw me pull up and rushed to the door before I could even knock. He asked her for money, she said, skipping any greeting. Her college fund. She was on the verge of breaking. He's been feeding her all these promises about some tech startup, saying if she puts the money in now, she'll be able to afford any college she wants. Where is she? Coffee with Derek again. Her voice cracked. I told her it was a scam. She said I was just jealous that he's finally stepping up, that at least he believes in her. I sat down at the kitchen counter, the same spot where everything came crashing down a week ago. Why didn't you tell me he was back? I thought I could handle it, she said, shaking her head. I thought if I kept them apart. Her voice trailed off. Then you and Lena had that fight, and she said all those awful things and she looked down. I panicked. I sided with her because I was afraid she'd choose him completely if I didn't. Before I could say anything, the front door opened. Lena walked in and froze when she saw me. Her makeup was carefully done, and she was wearing an expensive jacket, probably one Derek had bought her. But her eyes, they were red. What are you doing here? She asked. But the usual sharpness in her voice was missing. You dropped all your AP classes? I asked, trying to keep my tone gentle. What happened to Stanford? Plans change, she muttered, avoiding my gaze. Dad says, she caught herself. Derek says. Yeah, I corrected softly. Derek, there was a flicker of something across her face. He says he's got connections. That this startup's a sure thing. Like that classic car dealership was. Or the food truck franchise. I opened my laptop and pulled up the files I'd gathered earlier that morning. I did some digging, I said. Want to see his business status? Or maybe his credit report? Or the 3 lawsuits tied to his last guaranteed venture? Lena's hands were trembling as she took the laptop. With each document she opened, the confident front she'd been holding up began to crack. Then she reached a case filed by the grandmother of another stepdaughter, suing Derek to recover college savings he'd borrowed. That's when the first tear slipped down her cheek. He said, she whispered. He said he'd changed. that he wanted to make up for everything, that we could finally be a real family if. She looked up suddenly. The photo album, she said. He told me I had to prove I was choosing him, that the reason he stayed away was you, that you took his place. Oh, sweetie. Rebecca started to move toward her, but Lena stepped back. I knew, she said quietly. Deep down, I think I already knew. She paused, breathing hard. But I wanted to believe. Her phone buzzed again, another message from Derek. She stared at it for a long moment, then shut it off completely. I have to go, she said suddenly, heading toward the stairs. I need to think. We let her go. Sometimes giving someone space is the kindest thing you can do. The hours that followed were long, but Rebecca and I finally really talked. First time in weeks. We talked about the mess we were in, about our fears, our regrets. About Lena. About Derek. About us. It was near midnight when I started getting ready to head back to Matt's. That's when my phone lit up with a message from Lena. I messed up. Everything's messed up. Can we talk? I mean really talk. Not about Derek or money or anything. Just, remember when we used to get ice cream after dance class, and I'd rant about school stuff? Could we maybe do that? I know I don't deserve it, but I'm sitting in my car outside the little ice cream shop we used to go to. It's technically closed, but the owner knows us. We've been coming to this little ice cream shop for 3 years. Tonight, the owner was staying open late just for us. I was already parked outside when Lena pulled up in her mom's car. She hadn't gotten out yet, probably sitting there, working up the courage to come in same as I was. Funny how some of the biggest conversations start with something as small as mint chocolate chip ice cream at midnight. That night at the ice cream shop changed everything. Lena opened up in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. She talked for hours about how Derek had manipulated her, how confused she'd felt, and how guilty she was about the way things went down. But it was one offhand comment that really caught my attention. Derek had been encouraging her to get her friend's parents to invest in his startup too. That's when it clicked. I remembered the lawsuits I'd uncovered. The pattern. He'd done this before, using kids to get access to their family's money. All the anger I'd been trying to keep down suddenly had a direction. You know, I said carefully. What he's doing, it's not just wrong. It's illegal. Lena looked up from her half-melted cone. Illegal how? I explained, securities fraud, unregistered investments, the whole thing. Her eyes widened. She grabbed her phone and showed me the group chats, screenshots of Derek messaging minors, pitching his startup, asking for money. That night, after I dropped her off at home, I made some calls. Holly had a friend at the SEC. Matt knew someone at the DA's office. By morning, we had a plan. Derek didn't see any of it coming. He was too busy prepping for his big announcement dinner, where he was planning to charm Lena into signing over her college fund. He'd even invited some of her friends' parents, potential new investors. The dinner was at some high-end restaurant. Derek was in his element, talking big, Silicon Valley partners, guaranteed returns, insider opportunities. I waited until appetizers hit the table before I stood up. Before we go any further, I said, there are a few people who'd like to join us. Right on cue, 2 federal agents and a state investigator walked through the doors. I'll never forget the look on Derek's face. Cocky one second, completely terrified the next. They weren't just there for one scheme. Turns out Derek had been running 6 different cons across few states. Every time he reappeared in Lena's life, he was setting up a new pool of victims. The car dealership that drained Rebecca's savings? That was part of a wider scam. The food truck gig? Same pattern. But the thing that got him? He'd gotten sloppy. He documented everything. Emails, texts, DMs to Lena. He never thought she'd turn him in. When she forwarded those messages to the investigators, the case was basically gift-wrapped. And the other parents at dinner? They were wired. Every pitch, every lie, recorded in full. Derek actually tried to run, knocked over a waiter, and bolted for the exit. Got maybe 3 steps before security tackled him. As they hauled him out, he gave Lena this sad, wounded look, his go-to trick, and said, "Sweetie, this is all just a misunderstanding. Tell them I'm your father." Lena stood up, calm and steady. "My father's right here," she said, reaching for my hand. "And he just watched you get exactly what you deserve." The aftermath was huge. Media coverage, families coming forward, more victims adding their voices. Investigators uncovered over $2 million in stolen money. Derek is looking at 15, maybe 20 years. His startup? It was a scam from the ground up. Nothing but a website filled with stolen images from a real tech office. But the best part wasn't seeing him in handcuffs. It was everything that came after. Lena boxed up every photo she had with Derek and handed it to the prosecutors. Called it evidence. And she smiled when she said it. Just a little, but it was there. She reapplied to all her AP classes. The school was understanding once they knew the full story. And the parents he tried to con? Instead of turning bitter, they started a support group for families who'd been hit by similar scams. Something good came out of something awful. I didn't think I'd ever say that, but here we are. Last night, Lena asked me to help her with her college essays. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, tapping her pen against the page. I think I've got a pretty unique angle, she said. Not many people get to write about taking down their own father's fraud empire. She said it with a half laugh, like she didn't know if she should be proud or horrified. But I saw something else in her eyes, strength, ownership, like she wasn't ashamed of what had happened anymore. Like maybe she'd finally stopped blaming herself. Rebecca and I, we're in counseling now. We're not pretending everything's fine. There's too much behind us for that. Too many sharp words, too many silences. But we're showing up, one hard conversation at a time. And when I walked into the living room yesterday and saw Rebecca carefully pressing photos of me back into the family albums, the ones she'd let Lena erase, that said more than any sorry ever could. This morning, Lena came downstairs before the coffee had even finished brewing. She looked tired, but grounded. She handed me a thick envelope. Found this in my room, she said. Derek gave it to me last week. It's more paperwork for that scam startup of his. I was supposed to mail it. I turned it over in my hands and looked at her. Want to bring it to the investigators with me? She grinned, really grinned, for the first time in weeks. Can we get ice cream after? Some people might say what we did to Derek was too much. That it was family, and family means forgiveness. But real family doesn't trick you into giving up your future. Real family doesn't gaslight you, then vanish when it's convenient. Real family shows up when it's hard. Real family protects you, even if that means protecting you from someone who shares your DNA. Derek is getting sentenced next month. Lena's already written her victim impact statement. She spent hours hunched over it, revising, rewriting, making sure every word is exactly what she needs it to be. Yesterday, she handed me the draft. Her hands were shaking just a little. It needs a good ending, she whispered. Something that says I'm not just his victim anymore. But I think she already found that ending, long before the judge ever reads her words. It's there in how she walks now, like she's not carrying shame on her shoulders anymore. It's in how she's volunteering with the school counselor, helping kids who might be dealing with similar situations, teaching them what to watch out for, what questions to ask, how to trust their gut when something feels off. It's in those college brochures spread across her desk again, one she picked out on her own. Her path, her future, not one built on false promises and broken trust, but one she chose, piece by piece. And maybe that's what real healing looks like. Not just getting past the hurt, but making sure that hurt can't be passed on to anyone else. Tonight, we're having dinner, just the three of us. Nothing fancy. Lena's making her favorite pasta sauce, the one she learned how to cook back when we were stuck inside during lockdown, binging cooking videos and daring each other to try new recipes. She used to burn the garlic every time. Now she moves through the kitchen like she owns it. It's quiet, peaceful, nothing dramatic. Just a girl stirring her sauce while her mom sets the table. Just me, grating Parmesan, listening to them laugh. Normal, boring, beautiful. The kind of night Derek will have plenty of time to think about from a concrete cell, surrounded by silence he can't charm his way out of. And for once, I'm not thinking about the damage he caused. I'm thinking about the people he didn't break. And I'm proud of us. All of us.